Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are pulling up a chair, maybe pouring a glass. We're heading to Sicily
That's right.
and focusing on a red grape that, well, it really flips the script on expectations. Frappato.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you think about reds from these really hot Mediterranean islands, your mind probably goes straight to heavy hitters, right? Dense, high alcohol wines.
Sure, robust stuff.
But Frappato, our sources are calling it something totally different, like a shortcut to elegance in the Sicilian landscape.
That's a good way to put it.
So our mission today is to figure out how this relatively delicate aromatic grape manages to thrive in that heat and not just survive, but actually use that environment to create something special. Okay, let's unpack this.
Sounds good. And yeah, we should start right at the source. Frappato is definitely autochthonous, native.
Right.
It's deeply rooted in southeastern Sicily. Its real heartland is the Territory of Vittoria, which covers Ragusa and Caltanissetta provinces. Locally, they really see it as a kind of noble grape, but specifically of the plains, not the mountains like Etna.
Interesting distinction.
And the absolute key thing to grasp right away is Frappato brings lightness. It brings freshness, aromatic lift. If you tasted it next to, say, Nero
The big famous neighbor.
exactly, it's night and day. Frappato's complexity comes from its perfume, its aromatics, not from weight or, big tannins.
Okay, so that dual identity is fascinating because, historically at least, Frappato wasn't always the solo star. It often played this crucial supporting role in the region's most significant wine.
It absolutely did and still does. That foundational role is in Territory of Vittoria.
Right.
And for anyone listening who isn't familiar, this isn't just some local blend. It's Sicily's only DOCG.
The top tier.
Denominazione di origine controllata e garantita. Yeah, their highest quality classification.
So how does that blend work?
Well, Frappato usually makes up somewhere between 30 and 50%. The rest, 50 to 70%, is Nero And Nero that's the powerhouse. It brings the deep color, the tannin structure, the body. It's the muscle.
But Frappato is kind of the essential counterbalance then. It adds the aromatics, cherry, flowers, that sort of thing.
Precisely. It brings that critical aromatic lift cherry, florals, exactly, plus that vital acidity, and importantly, an elegance, a freshness.
Yeah.
It stops the whole thing from being just, a heavy wine, makes it more harmonious.
So if Frappato brings all that elegance, why isn't it, the dominant grape in the blend? Why does Nero still get the larger share?
That's a really important point. Partly it's history. Nero just always had that reputation, that weight.
Okay.
But it's also about structure. Frappato, lovely as it is, doesn't have the same phenolic density or color stability for really long aging on its own, or for handling rough transport back in the day.
I see.
So the Nero provides the backbone, makes sure that wine can last, holds its structure. Frappato gives it that immediate charm, that perfume, that balance.
So Frappato makes the star partner even better. But when you do find it bottled alone, 100% Frappato. Our sources say that's when you get the pure expression. Light body, super aromatic, really meant for, enjoying relatively young.
Exactly. That's its essence. And that pure expression immediately makes you wonder, how does something seemingly so delicate handle that intense Sicilian heat?
Yeah, that's the puzzle, isn't it? Let's dive into the terroir of Vittoria because it feels counterintuitive. How do you keep acidity high when it's baking hot, over 30 Celsius almost every day? This is where it gets really interesting.
It really does. It comes down to basically natural air conditioning and a big temperature difference between day and night.
Okay.
Those are the keys. Wind and diurnal range.
Let's start with the wind.
Right. So you've got constant air movement. There's a cooling sea breeze, the vento caliente that comes in regularly off the Mediterranean. That's like daily refreshment.
Keeps things from overheating.
Yeah. But then you also have this big clash playing out between the hot, dry Sirocco wind blowing up from North Africa.
Yeah. The famous Sirocco.
And the cold, dry Mistral coming down to the north. This constant circulation, this sort of battle of winds is incredibly important.
Why? What does it do for the grapes?
Well, firstly, it keeps the grapes dry. Lowers the risk of rot, fungal diseases, which is huge.
Okay, crucial for quality.
And secondly, it seems to help concentrate and develop those volatile aromatic compounds, the very things that make Frappato smell so good.
So the wind is like a natural cleaner and flavor concentrator.
Got it. Now, the temperature swing you mentioned, the diurnal shift, that's about preserving things.
That is the absolute secret sauce for acidity. You get those hot days, sure, easily 30 degrees C, sometimes more. That gets the grapes ripe. But then at night, partly because of the elevation and the sea's influence, the temperature plummets. It can drop down to 15 degrees C, maybe even a bit less.
Wow, that's a big drop.
It's huge.
Wow.
And what that does is it dramatically slows down the grape's respiration, its metabolism overnight.
Oh. That slow, gentle overnight phase preserves the natural acids in the grape, especially malic and tartaric acid. It stops them from just, well, burning off. That's what keeps the wine from feeling flat or flabby.
Huh.
It maintains a naturally low pH.
And that low pH, connecting this to the bigger picture, that isn't just about taste, is it? That's structure, that's longevity.
Absolutely. That preserved acidity, that low pH, it's the quiet engine behind Frappato's surprising ability to age. Even though it's light-bodied,
Right.
acidity provides the freshness, and low pH acts like a natural preservative. It allows the wine to hold itself together, develop complexity for, 5-8 years, sometimes even longer.
That's really impressive for such a seemingly light red. And the soil, that plays a part too, particularly in texture. We hear about Sabby Ross, red sands.
Red sands, that's the classic soil type there. Or sometimes calcareous sand. Very porous, drains exceptionally well.
And how does sand translate to the wine?
Directly into the texture, especially the tannins. Sandy soils naturally put a bit of moderate water stress on the vines, which is good for concentrating flavors.
Okay.
But the key thing about sand is that it's known for producing grapes with the finest, smoothest, most elegant tannins you can get.
Really?
Yes. It helps avoid that hard, grippy feeling you might get from, say, heavy clay soils. If you want silky tannins, sand is your friend. It's almost a guarantee of textural finesse.
Red sand equals silky tannins. That's a great takeaway.
Okay, let's look at the vine itself now. The actual ampelography, the physical traits of the Frappato grape.
Yeah.
How do they dictate this style?
Well, the first and maybe most important thing is the skin. Frappato has notoriously thin skin, and that's fundamental. It explains the light ruby color, the wine's transparency, and critically, it means you get minimal tannin extraction during winemaking, and the tannins you do get are inherently softer.
Thin skin, soft tannins. Makes sense.
Period. Yeah. Another key trait is the structure of the bunch itself. It's typically quite loose, what they call alato, meaning winged.
Okay, so not tightly packed.
Exactly. The berries aren't jammed together. This allows for really good air circulation within the bunch. Like the winds for the vineyard, but micro level.
Precisely. Reduces rot risk again and helps concentrate those delicate aromatics we keep talking about.
And growers there still seem to favor the old-school Albarello training, the bush vine. Despite all the modern trellising systems, why stick with that labor-intensive method?
It's perfectly adapted to that environment, especially the sun. The bush vine creates its own natural umbrella.
How so?
The leaves form a canopy over the grape clusters, shading them from the harshest, most direct Sicilian sun. If those thin-skinned Frappato grapes get sunburnt, cooked, essentially,
What's the perfume?
instantly, you lose all those beautiful primary aromas. The albarello protects the perfume.
Clever.
And it has another advantage. It allows for really high planting density. You can get up to, say, 7,000 vines per hectare.
Wow, that's dense.
It is. And that density creates competition between the vines. It naturally forces each vine to produce less fruit, maybe only 1.5 kilos or so. All the vine's energy goes into fewer, but higher quality, more concentrated grapes.
So it's a combination. Thin skin, shade from the bush vine, and competition-forcing quality. Then when these carefully grown grapes get to the winery, the approach has to be gentle, right? Soft extraction.
Absolutely. Vinification has to be really careful. Maceration, which is the time the juice spends soaking with the skins, is usually quite short, maybe 5 to 10 days. And they keep the temperatures cool around 20 to 25 Celsius.
Lower than for bigger reds?
Definitely. And they'll use gentle techniques, soft pumps, maybe punch downs instead of aggressive pump overs. The whole goal is to capture that bright color and those lovely volatile aromas without pulling out any harsh, unripe tannins, which can happen easily with thin skins if you're not careful.
Right. So all this careful work in the vineyard and winery leads us to what's actually in the glass, a sensory profile. For you listening, what are the key things to look for? What defines the Frappato experience?
Well, first off, Frappato really is a wine of perfume. Visually, expect a bright, clear, ruby color. Often quite transparent, you can easily read through it. In the glass, you'll probably notice thin, quick legs or tears, which points to its typically moderate alcohol level.
And the nose?
The nose is where it really sings. It's usually immediate and intense. You get this burst of fresh red fruits. Think wild strawberry, maybe raspberry. Sometimes a tart griot cherry note. And those fruit notes are almost always woven together with really vibrant floral scents. Fresh violet is classic, maybe wild rose. It makes it incredibly charming and complex aromatically.
But our sources mention something specific, a note that really ties it to Sicily, to its place.
Yes, that's the signature, I think. It's a subtle but distinct note of the Mediterranean maquis.
The coastal scrubland.
Exactly. It comes across as these delicate hints of maybe rosemary, thyme, sometimes even a little bit of blood orange peel. It just anchors the wine right there by the sea.
Fantastic. And on the palate.
The palate follows through from the nose. It's typically light to medium-bodied. The defining feature is this vibrant, almost zingy acidity. It really pulses through the wine that's as its backbone. And the tannins, as we discussed, are incredibly soft and silky.
Yeah.
Just glide across the palate, no harshness at all. Often, too, you'll pick up a distinct saline or mineral edge, especially on the finish.
That's salinity again.
Another echo of those coastal sandy soils. It adds another layer of freshness.
So to help people place it, how does Frappato stack up against other well-known elegant reds, like, say, Pinot Noir? They share that light body, the floral notes.
Good comparison. It shares the high acidity and the lighter frame with a good Burgundy, for example. But Frappato is different. Pinot Noir can be quite ethereal, almost ghostly sometimes. Frappato feels, well, riper, maybe a touch more rustic, definitely showing its warm Mediterranean origins. It's sun-kissed, not cool climate ethereal. And that maquis note is a dead giveaway, sets it apart immediately.
Okay. And compared to Sicily's other star elegant red, Nerello Mascalese from Etna.
Ah, very different again. Nerello Mascalese, grown on volcanic soils, is much more structured. It has significantly more tannin, often quite firm, needs time to soften. Frappato is way less tannic, much softer. Nerello often has this volcanic, stony minerality. Frappato prioritizes that immediate juicy vivacity and seamless silky texture.
Got it. And its versatility doesn't stop there, right? It's also used for risotto.
Oh yes, it makes beautiful rosés or rosati, usually made either by direct pressing the grapes or a very short skin contact, like 2 to 4 hours of quick saignée. They tend to be pale, near crisp with sharp acidity, and often have that lovely saline finish too.
So it really is versatile, which makes it, as you said earlier, a bit of a gastronomic wild card. How does it perform at the dinner table?
Exceptionally well, actually. Its greatest strength for food pairing is that high acidity we keep mentioning. It acts like a palate cleanser, cutting through richness and fat beautifully without overwhelming food. It refreshes your mouth between bites.
So what are some classic Sicilian pairings?
Oh, it's fantastic with pasta alla norma, that classic dish with eggplant, tomato, ricotta salata. The wine's acidity just slices through the richness of the fried eggplant and olive oil.
Yeah.
It's also surprisingly good with grilled fatty fish, tuna steaks, swordfish. It stands up to the richness but doesn't clash. And medium-aged cheeses, especially something tangy like Caciocavallo, work really well.
And thinking beyond Sicily, global pairings, where else could you slot this in?
Because it's light and has those herbal undertones, it's more versatile than you might think. It can be really interesting with some lighter Asian dishes, maybe things that aren't too heavily spiced but have umami notes.
Okay.
It's brilliant with raw preparations like beef or tuna tartare. And its acidity makes it a natural fit for things like herb-roasted chicken or turkey.
One crucial point our sources stress is serving temperature. This seems really key for Frappato.
Oh, absolutely critical. You have to serve it slightly chilled. The ideal range is probably 14 to 16 degrees Celsius. That's about 57, 61 Fahrenheit.
What happens if you serve it warmer?
If it's too warm, those beautiful, delicate aromas just kind of evaporate, they get blown off, and the alcohol becomes more noticeable, makes it seem heavier than it is.
Too cold.
Too cold, and you mute the nose, but you also temporarily make those lovely soft tannins feel a bit harder, a bit clipped. So slightly cool is the sweet spot.
Temperature is key to unlocking the perfume. Okay, wrapping up, let's circle back to something mentioned early on, this idea of Frappato as an anti-global warming grape. Why is that becoming such a significant part of its story now?
It's all about climate change resilience. As vineyards everywhere get hotter, the biggest challenge, especially in already warm regions like Sicily, is keeping freshness and acidity in the grapes.
Right, wines can get flat and jammy.
Exactly. Frappato seems to have this innate genetic ability to hold on to its acidity, maintain that low pH even when the vintages are really hot. That's its superpower right now. It's a stark contrast to many other red grapes that just lose their nerves, lose that acid, become overly alcoholic and heavy in the heat.
So it meets a market need.
Precisely. There's a growing demand globally for reds that are lighter, more aromatic, maybe slightly lower in alcohol, but still complex and interesting. Frappato ticks all those boxes, naturally. It's positioning itself as the elegant, almost cool climate-style red from a distinctly hot place.
That makes perfect sense. So Frappato is really defined by that combination, the elegance, the vibrant freshness, those unmistakable silky tannins, all born from that unique mix of thin skins, cooling winds, sandy soils, and careful handling. You get a lot of character in a wine that still feels light and approachable.
You really do.
And one final thought for you to consider. Despite its lightness, don't dismiss its ability to age. Our sources consistently point out that the best Frappatos, thanks to that acidity, can evolve beautifully for 5, maybe 8 years or even more.
Definitely. Which leads us to maybe a final provocative question to leave you with.
Could a grape like Frappato, traditionally seen as somewhat minor, defined by its subtlety, its coolness in a hot climate, could it actually become the true star of a region like Sicily because of climate change? Simply because it handles the heat while retaining that all-important freshness. It really makes you think about what defines quality and importance in wine as the climate shifts.